as leaders to say that our nations, all people in our nation can have this access to water sanitation. That happens because of the organisations, happens because of the people. You're in organisations that are growing, that should be aiming to be independent organisations. Abbas is in one of the country programmes that would probably be the first in Africa to become an independent WaterAid, with an independent board, raising funds from across the Federation, reporting to its own trustees, who are from Ghana, holding that team to account. We, as WaterAid the Federation, will hold Ghana programme to account for making sure that happens. Is that not something we should all be aspiring to? Or do we all want to be reporting up to the UK who sit here? Do you all want to be reporting to me for the next 15 years? Why has there been an underspend in your country? Why, when there is money available, have we not spent the money available to get people access to water and sanitation? How do we sleep at night knowing that we had money available? We have people who don't have access to water and sanitation. And yet, it wasn't spent. We gave it back. We gave it back to the donor. We didn't want that money. Did we not want that money? So those are things that are about building dynamic organisations. It's building a sense of purpose, building a sense of pride, dignity, all of those things within an organisation. Some of you have come from corporate sector, some of you come from public sector, some from civil society. You come with a range of experience. That's the beauty of WaterAid and organisations like ourselves. The difference in WaterAid is that we truly, truly aspire to have independent organisations working together in partnership under this federation. That is part of the strategy. It's clearly within this next 5 years. In this particular strategy, we expect to see some countries becoming independent, which is probably Ghana, if all goes well, hence Abbas being recruited because we think he has the talent to be able to help that happen. Nigeria, possibly. India will definitely be independent, and a number of others. We will probably start some other WaterAids. There's Myanmar starting. There's probably going to be a Brazil or something similar in that area, potentially Indonesia. Why? Because they will have an impact on everyone everywhere having access to water and sanitation. So you see that what we're trying to do is have a trigger effect as an organisation. How does that relate to you? Because at the end of the day, I've got to produce the accounts, do the figures, tell people they haven't done their expenses, do all these things, report to the donor, all those things. Well, actually, for you as finance leaders, I want you to lift yourself up out of that. I want you to lead and manage your staff to do that. When I arrived in WaterAid, I've been here 9 years now. Poor old Anthony's thinking every day, oh, she's been here 9 years. 9 years, and I arrived as the head of UK finance. So the team I did was, I had a similar role to the roles you have. I managed a transactional unit. I managed a unit that produced management accounts for the UK business. This is a country programme. WaterAid UK is a country programme, doing some, not all the same things as you, but many similar things. So I managed that unit. I had the same challenge as you have. The team saying they won't do this, they haven't signed this off, we've got expenses, they haven't been returned. And everybody sat in little teams complaining about the rest of the organisation, and they wouldn't do this. There wasn't a sense of we as an organisation within our team. So much of my early work was about how do you build a team that looks out and asks itself questions. Why is it that people are resistant to filling this in? Why is it that people don't seem to be able to produce a good plan or budget? Why? And ask ourselves why, without pointing the finger first at others. What have we done to change this reality about ourselves? So that is where there was a sense of momentum. Anthony and others at the time, Anthony's been here as long as I have, much longer actually than I have. Anthony, how long?
Just a few months longer.
Just a few months, that's much longer, Anthony. You must have been here nearly a decade now. So Anthony's been here, he's nearly as long as the drivers, 10 years. So, and so at that time, they worked very much within the international programmes unit. So there were, the team was reporting into the regional team, so Anthony had a role as a regional finance officer reporting into the international programmes. That had its advantages. It really had its advantages, really working closely with those programmes people. We had a bit of a change. I then became head of the whole finance, and then I became director of finance. And the sense that I had was, how do we provide a professional service to the organisation that enables us to reach our ambitions, our aims? That was my purpose. I have a very good relationship with the current Director of International Programmes. There will be another one. I will work hard to build a good relationship with that person, whoever they will be, because my job is to support them to lead a lot of people to success, i.e. you. I have a matrix responsibility for you, but I don't have a line responsibility for you, but I have a professional line to get the best. Now, in terms of the work we do then, it's about how do we build those good partnerships? Because you can imagine when the regional finance officers came into finance, there was some sense of, well, actually we're going to lose something. So how do we gain something? Likewise, in your country programmes, how do you make sure you have good partnerships with the programmes? You can, it's all very well, I'm sure at the SMT you will work hard to build partnerships, to build good relationships, to work as a functional SMT. Some of the work that Adiola is doing this year is about how do we build that. We will do some work with you about how do you build financial literacy in your SMTs. But we will be working with you to build your skills as train the trainer. Because how do you do that throughout the organisation? How do you build those skills in your teams? How do you get them to lift their heads up and move out? How do they build partnerships? How does your finance officer build a partnership with a project officer, with the drivers? Or are they a no, no, no person? Or are they, it's no now, but how do I make it different? Because I can see that doesn't help you. So this is again work, you have Olu coming in and he will talk about how are your systems and processes enabling the strategy to be delivered rather than disabling. Are you a risk-based organisation? So again, think as a business, think as an independent organisation without all the things we're doing here. How would you be comfortable that what you're doing is enabling success rather than making sure that nothing gets lost, but nothing gets gained as well? So are all your controls really cutting everything off? Are they cutting off innovation? They're cutting off people's empowerment? But they're making sure that not a penny gets lost or not a whatever in any different places. I won't refer to them. But then they're making sure that not a penny gets gained as well. So how are you demonstrating leadership that frees up the organisation, that enables your people to think, okay, I understand why we've got that control, but actually it's causing more trouble than it's actually protecting us from. Yeah? So that sense of innovation, that sense of partnership, that sense of enabling, that's not for everyone else, and we don't do that in finance, because what we do in finance is we make sure the debits and credits are right. That is for us as well as everybody else, okay? And that's the type of environment that I'm trying to lead us through. So I will challenge you, but I will also be your greatest supporter, because I want to see you grow, and I want to see you on those SMTs, understanding as much about the programmes. I will be asking every single head this year how many trips they've made to the field. They, not their team, how many times have they gone into the field? And I don't mean to the project next door, to the office. I mean a range of projects. Do they understand the programme they are supporting? I want them to explain to me what the programme is and what they've done to make sure that the work that they're doing is going to enable good delivery. And that is where I'm going to focus my risk-based work, rather than saying why you underspent, why you overspent, because that is no good. What are the causes of us to be like that? I'm going to be asking some stuff about your partnerships. What have you done about partnership? How are you transferring money? When are you transferring money? I'm going to do some sample tasting, a little bit unusual for the Director of Finance, but I am going to focus on areas where there are critical blockages. I'm not interested in all your day-to-day. That's the stuff. You shouldn't be interested in that. That's the stuff your team. You should be interested in all your team delivering. But your heads have got to be up in the SMT. What's the programme there to be? Your heads have got to be in how is my nation going to be everyone everywhere? Not 2030, before it. What are we going to do? You should be able to speak to a minister as much as the programme director and say, your what we call a lift conversation here. If you were going from floor 0 to floor 10, and you only had that time with that minister, how have you made sure that there'll be water and sanitation high on their agenda?